Hi, this is Drew Tignanelli. This is our March 2023 update here with Michael P. How
Glad
are
to be
you,
here.
Mikey?
Doing great.
Yeah. And so far, 2023 markets had a good January, a mixed February so far. It's struggling like there's a tug of war going on, in the
Yeah,
market.
yeah, absolutely. So the S&P 500, which people like to follow, that's up 3.3% year to date at the time of shooting this video. But for the month of February, it's down about a little over 1%. And the NASDAQ, which is more of the growth-oriented stocks, that's having a fantastic first couple months. It's up 9.6%, even despite being down only 0.8% for the month of February. So we're still seeing some volatility, and a lot of that, Drew, is probably concerns about the Fed.
Yeah, well, the Fed is watching its inflation indicators. Me personally, I think that the Fed has made so many mistakes since 2018. Jerome Powell took over, that it's almost hard to take them serious anymore.
What the
That
markets do.
they do, well, you have to, because they can demolish stock markets and they can make stock markets go to the moon.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time for them to realize that what they've already done is about the best they're going to be able to do, unless they want to just totally demolish the market or the economy in a big way. I don't think they'll ever get there. I think that what you're going to see is that sooner or later they'll stop and realize that they've already given it plenty and they don't need to go any further right now.
Yep. I mean, what the Fed is looking at is various measures of the economy, and there's some things that are in their favor because they want a slowing economy at the moment. So housing sales have started to soften, but other aspects of the economy are really still outperforming. We have historically low unemployment, um, and a relatively strong economy. All that being said, one of their big numbers they're looking at, as we've been talking about, is inflation. Currently, as we shoot this, the inflation number for the trailing 12 months is about 6.4%, which is considerably down from the high it got when it was about a little over 9% last year. So that's the markets for this month.
The good news is that the bond market and interest rates are now at a good level, 4, 5, 6%. We're getting good money on our bond positions, on our cash positions, our online savings accounts. And next month, we're going to talk about a new cash management tool we're going to offer to clients. But we want to give it one more month so we get the admin down, so that when we send it to you, it's smooth and easy. But it's
Ready to
paying
go.
well over 4%, FDIC insured, and so forth. If anybody hears this video and says, "Oh, I need to hear about this now," feel free to let us know. We'll talk to you. So,
Yep.
but we'll tell you more about it next month and how we can do it. Anyway, Mike, you wanted to talk about estate planning also, and this is a key time to start thinking about estate planning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think most of the listeners of this video, they don't need to be told about the importance of having an estate plan and having the proper estate plan documents. But what I thought some of our listeners might benefit from hearing is the idea to think about some of the things beyond just the documents you had done. So one of the biggest things for many clients is adult children. Do your adult children have the documents they need? And, if they're adults, they probably should have all of the various elements. But at the bare minimum, you want to make sure that that adult child has a healthcare power of attorney that accurately reflects who they want to make healthcare decisions for them in the event they're unable to make the decision for themselves. So that's a big one, Drew. And then one of the things that we all have to recognize is change. Certainly it's like beating a dead drum to talk about the last few years and talk about change, but change happens a lot, and change happens in your estate plan. It could be just a change in the asset level of your estate and how that might need to affect things. It could be a change in your end wishes. Oh, I don't really like that charity anymore, or I really would rather assets be divided this way. It could be a change in the status of one of your beneficiaries. Maybe one of your children is in a position where, we were going to leave the money outright, but now, well, maybe we should probably put a trustee in place. But one of the bigger changes that's always possible is changes in the law, because the politicians are changing and the laws are changing.
And they change quite often, quite frequently. They change, and that's what we're here for. We just got a big change at the end of 2022 for retirement assets, but Maryland actually is put forth a law that could end up with this new governor could be the last guy to turn the lights out if they pass this one, where they want to drop the estate tax down to $1 million in the state of Maryland. I mean, that would affect almost 95% of all of our clients probably have an estate worth more than $1 million. And Maryland is saying, we want a portion of that when you pass away. Now, I don't think it's going to pass, Mike, but
Right.
these are the kind of things that we monitor for you. And if they do, we'll be there to help pack your house up and move down here to Florida or wherever you want to go.
We'll introduce you to his real estate agent.
Anyway,
but one of the highlights there before we move on, Drew, is just it's the importance of maintaining these conversations with your advisor, and it's also the importance of having a comprehensive financial advisor who's going to cover all of these aspects and not just one or two.
Well, most advisors, all they do is sell product, and they don't have that comprehensive knowledge. And even if they do, they're using it as a tool to try to sell something. And that's not what people need. They need a professional financial advisor that's dedicated to giving them the advice that they need. And that brings us to another topic that is right in line with that. And that is
topic.
What's that?
Topic of the video.
Topic of the video today was that, yes, as of last Thursday, I published my book. A lot of people don't even know I was writing a book, but I've been planning this for some time. In 1984, I formed this company that was known as the Financial Consulate today. And in 1984, I always had a dream about professional financial advisors, getting away from the sales world and becoming a professional financial advisor. And I tried numerous times to create that company back in 1984. And the situation just wasn't up for it at that time. And then in 1995, Schwab opened up a window to become a fee-only independent advisor, free of brokerage firms, insurance companies, and banks. And I walked through that window and have not looked back since. And that's when we really created the Financial Consulate as people know it today, and the growing entity that it is, with a team of professionals who are dedicated to the well-being of the client, kind of like, Mike, a doctor would be to their patients. I like to say that a true professional advisor should be like a general practitioner of medicine. Good comprehensive knowledge, great credentials, great education, and is as unbiased as they can possibly get to, not selling products to generate, more income for themselves based on the advice that they're giving.
So based on that, what did you name the book?
We named the book what you expect us to name it, The Financial Physical, which was the trademark name that we put on the company's main service, the Financial Physical. In 1990, we trademarked that name because I knew that the medical profession was always the model that this company should use to create the entity that I always dreamed of. And here's the point that I want to make, is that I need your help, the client's help, to get the message out to the public, because the public still doesn't even, it seems like a lot of our clients don't even understand because, occasionally they'll say, oh, I was talking to a Morgan Stanley person, I was talking to a Merrill Lynch person, I was talking to, and they told me this, and, you guys never said this or whatever. And it's like, it's like, do you think we don't know about this? And so forth. There's plenty of things we know about that we know that it's not necessarily in your best interest. And if you find something, just come tell us, and we'll give you the straight scoop on everything.
Another way to say that is that there's categories of products that might be a good fit for any given client, but depending on where you buy that product, it might be better or worse for them.
Right. But the key is that it's really important in this industry to have somebody who's a fiduciary at all times, so that if somebody comes to us and tells us that there's a product that we couldn't even possibly access and it's a good product, we have to tell them, Mike, that's a good product. You need to consider that. And the only way you're going to get that is with them, because if you're not a fiduciary, you can do anything you want to. It's kind of like Maryland 529 plans. A non-fiduciary can send people to their commission-based 529 plan, take a commission with not any liability whatsoever. If we
That's not something we're just imagining. That's something that we've seen so many times.
That's something that is an absolute statement of fact. But if a fiduciary says to you, the best plan is this one that I'm going to charge you a fee on, and doesn't tell you about the Maryland 529 or your state 529, if it's applicable, there are states that you can use any one you want, but not in Maryland. If you want the full benefits, you got to get the Maryland 529. We don't make anything on it, but as a fiduciary, we have to tell them. And that's what the book's about. And that's why I need your help to bring forth the dream that I've always had, where financial advisors become like doctors of personal finance, like medical practitioners, sort of, that they're dedicated to the client. They're not dedicated to their financial well-being. Most doctors I know are not dedicated to the amount of money they make. They make good money because they're incredibly educated and they work hard. That's why they make a lot of money. But most doctors I know love what they do and they believe in what they do. And it's not about their compensation. It's about doing the best they can for the people that they work for. That's what the financial advisory industry needs. That's what this book is all about. And it's about my starting point in 1979 all the way up to today. And every chapter has great tips on financial planning, investments, and the psychology of money. The psychology of money, Mike, is probably as important as anything else, but rarely do you hear anybody talking about it. And I've spent years studying the psychology of money and personal finance. I mean, there are whole books written on behavioral finance, which is dealing with this.
There's a saying, Drew, and let me know if I butcher this, because it's your saying or it's a saying you've scalped off somebody else, but it is what you think about money and believe about money will determine what you do. Now, I'm not getting
with and for it.
With and for money.
The foundation of all financial planning is the way you think about money will determine everything you're going to do with and for money. And no matter what logic somebody gives you, unless you break through that belief and that thought process, most people aren't going to change. And it is the foundation of all financial planning. A person that we know in the industry, and I respect him, his name's Rick Gaylor, says only 20% of decisions are made by people based on logic. The rest of it is all psychologically based.
Yeah, we're animals.
So it's extremely important. The book has great tips on these. It has my life story, and it's talking about the passion of seeing this industry become an industry of true professional practitioners. And we put the book out there for distribution. Anybody who comes to our office and wants to get a paperback copy, we'll have some to give you. But if you want to buy it and have it delivered to your house, what is it, $5.99, right?
Yeah,
Paperback.
we put the prices on Amazon as low as we could because we really just needed them as a distribution center for shipping. So a paperback book is $5.99 and an ebook or a Kindle reader book is $2.99.
Yeah. So we've made it as cheap as we can to make sure that it's as easy as possible for you to get in and get 2 or 3 of them and give them to friends, give them to your children. And because there's great foundational advice in there to begin your career and to learn how to find a professional financial advisor, not somebody who wants to sell you insurance products or investment products and doesn't have the ability, either through no training or their compliance department won't let them. Most reason that advisors can't give comprehensive advice is because their compliance departments say, no, you cannot give tax advice. No, you cannot give estate advice. They just don't want it. But that's why independent fee-only advisors are now the coming of the industry. The amount of independent fee-only advisors is rising rapidly, but it's still less than 10% of the entire financial advisory world at this point in time. That's
Right.
amazing.
It is
Anyway,
amazing.
I hope you'll get it, the Financial Physical on Amazon, for $5.99 for the paperback, $3.99 for the Kindle.
For the Kindle book.
What's that?
$2.99 for the Kindle book.
$2.99.
Free at our office.
Free at our
Good.
office. And so-
Scissors.
anyway,
Offices.
but before we end, Mike, you did something that I typically do. Okay. You said a statement earlier, I'm not going to beat a dead drum. And I do that too. I say things like, I just scratched the tip of the iceberg.
Well, we normally get them slightly wrong too. Like, I think it's a dead horse. It's not a dead drum, but whatever.
It is a dead horse. Don't beat a dead horse. And I don't even know what the heck that means, but that is the saying. And scratching the tip of the surface is not the tip of the iceberg. It is you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. But my daughter and my wife still laugh that I say those types of things, scratching the tip of the iceberg. But anyway, we digress. I hope you'll get the book, The Financial Physical. And that's the end of our March update. This is Drew Tignanelli saying God bless.